What is going on, everyone? It is your boy Jake here, back with you guys for another interview. And yet today we have the one, the only Megan Crawley, who's going to be joining me here very soon. Of course, we're going to head and get a chance to have these shout outs out of the way. So, yeah, real quick, shout out to rmgmfx1.com. They have so many incredible gear, just as some Fighting Now gear. You guys can get a chance to head on over to rmgfx1.com and get a chance to use code FIGHT to save 10% off your entire purchase. Also, all right. So let's go ahead and send more shout outs real quick to Mom's Basement MMA. Of course, all their fighters, that they've interviewed has fight week this week. So I encourage you guys to go check them out. Mom's_Basement MMA on Instagram. And let's go ahead and check out Liz with a Z podcast, Lisa Solar, who was with us this past Monday. I encourage you guys to go check out that interview. And of course, last but certainly not least, we have Air Media Productions. Once again, congratulations to 5,000 followers on Instagram. So before we get a chance to have Megan on, let's go ahead and do one quick advertisement and she'll join us. All right, help me welcome into the StreamYard Studios, Miss Megan Crawley.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I am so happy that you got a chance to join me. I appreciate you taking your time. I know it's been a busy week, but how you been doing?
I've been doing well. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be here. But yeah, it's been a good, busy week. So
What you been up to? You been doing any training, any work as of late? I mean, what's been going on?
yeah, I've just been training and working my typical week. So that's just the normal grind. So yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's getting towards wind down time now. So.
and that's understandable for sure. But yet, not too many people know that you do a lot of things. You do fighting, jiu-jitsu. You do so many incredible things out there. And I think everyone wants to know is what inspired you to start fighting.
So I did martial arts as a kid growing up, and I've always loved it. I've always enjoyed, like, when I did Taekwondo, I enjoyed Taekwondo. When I wrestled, I enjoyed wrestling. So I had started fighting because I wanted to get back in shape, but then I saw like girls fighting like on TV, and I was like, oh man, that would be fun. Like when I first started fighting, Ronda was really big. So of course I was like, motivated and inspired by her and her being at the top. And so I was like, oh, I want to try this. And I did it. And yeah, now I'm here.
And by the way, which is a coincidence that today makes it, I don't know how long it's been, but Ronda becoming the first woman to ever step foot into an octagon and become the first UFC woman to win in a UFC fight, to say the least. So you're definitely doing a lot of inspiration out there, to say the least. So you currently train at Fusion. How much of a family has that team been to you?
Oh, it's been awesome. We have a really fun dynamic. And yeah, they've been a really awesome team. We've got like 5 girls to probably like 150 men. So the boys really look out for the females, and we have a really awesome female squad. We're really tight knit. So yeah, they've just embraced me. I've been there for a little bit over a year now, and they've embraced me, and they really are family. It's so much fun there.
I have a couple photos of you and, of course, a couple of girls that I wanted to get a chance to share your thoughts and feelings about, to say the least. So, yet, first one, we have you and Miss Hannah. I mean,
Oh.
that's your girl right there. So, I mean, how much has she meant to you?
Oh, Hannah's awesome. Hannah, she's been an inspiration to me like since I began training. She has always been like just a little bit ahead of me, like training wise. She had started a little bit before I started. She had her fights a little bit before I did. So I feel like I'm following in her footsteps a lot, and she's like the team captain. She's awesome. She's the hardest working person, and she definitely makes the girls like she definitely like leads. And yeah, I would say like she's team captain of the girls for sure.
And of course, I have to share this with
Oh,
you, Marina Shafir, and Kat Nelson. So, I mean,
yeah.
it pretty much seems like y'all are family, to say the least, ain't it?
Yeah, no, we are. Marina and Kat, they're both awesome. I met Marina when she first moved here from California, I believe she moved, and then Kat and I started training together when I moved to Fusion, and they're both awesome. I honestly, all the women I train with are badass and just really like big inspirations. They do a lot. They don't just fight. A lot of them
Yeah.
are business women, they're moms, they're entrepreneurs, they're doing this, they're doing that, and they're really, really flipping good. So, yeah, they're
Well, hey,
awesome.
shout out to Marina Shafir, Kat Nelson, and of course Hannah Goldie, which she has fight week that's coming up. So,
Yeah.
so pretty much, you've been doing this all for a while now, and there's been a lot of the good parts, but there's a lot of challenging parts. What would you say has been the most challenging part when it comes to training in your own perspective?
Um, I think you mean like training or fighting or the whole thing in general?
Just training, but if it's training for a fight or training for a super fight, I mean, just training in general.
I think the hardest part of training in general is that it is a very male dominated sport. And so we tend to train with the guys a lot. We do have like a fairly good size girls team, but a lot of the time there's not enough girls on the mat for all my rounds to be just women. So a lot of times I got to train with the guys, and that's tough because you go with guys that are your size and just biologically they're stronger than you, and then if you get a little bit aggressive with them, they tend to need to put you in your place, and it's rough trying to find that balance, especially when you're new in the sport. I want to say that like earning my respect on the mats was like the hardest when I was
Mhm.
new, because they were like, oh well, who the hell is this girl, and who does she think she is? But yeah, I would say it's that. Like, it's tough training with men all the time, and it's tough getting that respect.
I think as far as like from your perspective, you definitely earned your respect as much, especially with how much you gotten involved with MMA, how much you gotten involved with jiu-jitsu, to say the least. Talking about your MMA side, your first ever fight, what was the emotions? What was going through your mind before you got a chance to step into the cage for the first time?
Oh my gosh, I remember being scared. I was terrified. I didn't want to do it anymore. I just kept thinking like all the things that would happen that would maybe make the fight fall through. Like the whole time walking up, like, oh man, like maybe she just doesn't make it there. Um, so I was terrified the whole time. And honestly, I don't think that fear ever goes away. I've just learned how to kind of channel it a little bit better or
Hmm.
just understand what's coming a little bit better. But yeah, I just remember the first time I was fighting, I was terrified.
It was like, like once before you hit the cage, it's like so much is building up inside that you don't know what to do, but then you end up going out there, and of course you've had your moments where you won, and there's been a lot of difficult challenges in that perspective. I mean, we've had so many things that have either encouraged us or inspire us to keep going. So, what's been encouraging you to get up and keep going like you are right now?
I think what encourages me to keep going is just the love and the passion that I have for the sport. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't do what I do, because you kind of have to be crazy to do it. Um, but yeah, I think it's like the love, the passion, the fact that I can't really see myself doing anything else, and that's what like keeps me going. And the fact that like I know that I inspire a lot of people, and like my story inspires a lot of people, so that also helps motivate me. But at the end of the day, like I really love martial arts. I love MMA. I love the sport. I love all types of martial arts, not just mixed martial arts, not just jujitsu, not just kickboxing. I'll watch kung fu. Like, doesn't matter. I just love it. I appreciate it.
Get a chance to talk to you about your story. I mean, did you ever expected the impact that you have made on so many people to where they're starting to get into MMA, to where they're starting to get into Jiu-Jitsu? Did you ever think that, your story could make that much of an impact?
No, I never did, and it's still so wild to me. I still forget that I've been in the MMA community a really long time, and I forget that I've been training a while, and I forget that, there's going to be a new wave of girls coming in that are going to look up to me. So it's still kind of weird to me when I have those girls being like, "Oh my gosh, like, I heard about that time that you had that fight from one of your old teammates, and now I'm so inspired to go do it," or "Hey, like I watched you and that's so cool. Now I want to compete." Like it's just still so it's still so hard to wrap my mind around it when people say things like that to me, or like, "Oh, hey Megan, like it's so nice to meet you. You're an inspiration." I'm like, "Really, me?" Like seriously? That's so nice. Thank you.
It's like, you're like kind of like a teacher getting told all this by students, to say the least. I mean, whenever you have someone that's approached you like that, do you ever feel like that's like one of your students they didn't know that you thought, well, if I made an impact on them, that definitely means a lot to me, to say the least, right?
Yeah. It's like one of those things that really makes me feel good inside, and then it makes me feel like a role model, and then I want to continue to inspire people and continue to use my platform for good. So, when I see, like, I do realize that I have an impact on people, especially because, a lot of women that walk into the gym, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're a pro fighter." Like, that's so cool to them. Where, to me, like, I'm around so many pros all the time that it's just like, "Oh yeah, like, whatever." Um, so like I do make like the extra effort to like I'm like super nice to anybody who walks in the gym, especially like if you're an aspiring fighter, especially if you're an aspiring woman fighter. I'm just like the nicest to you because I understand like what it's like to be new, and I understand that these girls do look up to me because of the position that I have.
Well, I mean, you always talked about, it don't matter if it's a woman that walks in there. I mean, does it ever really hit them the fact that, hey, they get a chance to learn from someone who's been through it all, who's got a chance to hang out with these pro fighters? Do you ever let that success get to your head a little bit, or do you just focus on staying humble as you are right now?
I try to stay humble. I feel like sometimes I can kind of be like a jerk and I try to like really bring myself down, like back to earth. But I really try not to let myself be like that. I really want to be humble, and I like the person that I am when I'm humble. I don't really like when I'm like arrogant or I feel like I've been a jerk, like I kind of beat myself up. So, yeah, I kind of enjoy being humble, and I feel like that's like the martial artist way. Like when you meet those true martial artists, they're like really humble, good people, and that's what I aim to be.
You got a chance to fight for quite some time. I mean, I've noticed that you got a chance to fight back at Combat Night MMA. Whenever you go to a Combat Night show, or I think they do a, submission grappling show, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
What is that environment like to you?
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
She's like, "Danger." No, it's fine. Hey, hey, it's okay. Okay. Sorry.
It's
Um,
okay. It's okay.
oh my gosh. Okay, she's good.
Is she all
Being
right?
Yeah, yeah. She hears probably something outside, and she's like, "Oh, it's my job to protect." Um, being at the combat night events and submission grappling events, they're awesome. It's a lot of fun. It's fun getting to see like the local talent, and it's awesome that there's shows that can, that we have events like that that can put on so the local talent can be displayed. So I
Yeah.
always have a lot of fun whenever I'm not fighting or whenever I'm not in fight camp. I really tend to enjoy myself, and yeah, I have a great connection with Mitchell and Jada. Mitchell runs Combat Night and Jada runs submission grappling. So they kind of let me have fun and be a part of it. And I enjoy that.
You know, as you know, as we get a chance to talk about this, and that I want you to look back on the journey, through everything that you went through. You talked about it being a male dominant sport, but yet you've also had your trials and tribulations, to say the least. What has been the toughest part in your journey that you want people to know about?
Um, I think the toughest part of like my journey is like having to come back after losses. I feel
Mhm.
like that's the hardest part, like staying motivated, not feeling like a loser, not feeling like everybody thinks that like you suck and whatnot. Like just having to like pick yourself up and like get back in there and like find that motivation. I feel like that's been like the hardest part of my journey. I feel like because I used to put so much of my identity in fighting, like it used to really like tear me apart when I would lose. So now I don't feel like that as much anymore. But I feel like that's been the hardest aspect for me is just like picking myself up after losing because I know what I'm capable of.
You talked about when it comes to the losses, to say the least. I mean, how did you ever learn something after each fight? No matter how many times if you lost, there's always something to learn.
Yeah, I feel like there's always something that you can take away from a win or a loss. Like if you're not taking away anything from your fights, then you're probably not growing. So I feel like there's definitely big lessons in both wins and losses, and maybe um, more painful lessons in the losses, but they're there.
Yeah, absolutely, to say the least. You've definitely been busy a lot when it comes to work, when it comes to training, and of course, your teammates are getting ready to fight, to say the least. But yet, the thing is, I think everyone wants to know is what is next for Megan Crawley? What is next for you?
I just want to get back in there. I'm gonna hopefully fight again soon within the next couple months to mid-year and just keep chipping away. That's what's next.
Well, I definitely think that we'll all get a chance to see you back in the cage or whatever it may be, and of course, I want to get a chance to talk about the jiu-jitsu side. Try not to butcher it, but you get what I mean. Have you got a chance to compete in a couple of submission grappling competitions?
Yeah, I have. I try to compete in jujitsu when I'm not fighting as a way to kind of stay active. So that's what I tend to do when I'm not fighting. Is I'll do some submission grappling stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Did you ever think that jiu-jitsu can help you out with MMA, especially with how much you can learn, especially on the grappling side?
Oh yeah, for sure. It goes hand in hand. That's exactly why I choose to compete in jujitsu because it'll keep me sharpened. Excuse me. In competition, it keeps me sharpened in competition mode, but then it also like gets me uncomfortable and kind of gets me ready to compete. So that's why I do it. Yeah, and it keeps you sharp. The girls who compete in jiu-jitsu are really good.
I would say, is there any tournaments, outside of the fighting world that you're wanting to do this year?
I definitely want to get on another submission grappling event. I think that would be really fun. And then I don't know, maybe high rollers in Vegas. That'd be fun, or something like that. But I don't know. I haven't really thought too much about it.
I mean, never say never, right?
Yeah, I know. For sure. I would absolutely love to. It'd be fun.
I would definitely love to get a chance to see you at a high rollers event in Vegas. So, we talked about earlier, with how much people look up to you, and especially when it comes to the younger side. If there was any encouragement or any advice you have to any of our viewers out there who want to get involved with jiu-jitsu or MMA, what would be the best advice you would give them?
Um, I would tell them that it is a very difficult sport. So to just be consistent and to not give up. I feel like a lot of people give up really quick on the sport because it is so hard and because it does take a lot of time. But there's a lot of benefits that come from it, from sticking through it. So I think you should just stick with it.
Exactly, to say the least. And I'm trying not to butcher Instagram here, so I have to fix that up. So, my apologies on that. But yeah, if you guys want to get a chance to follow her, hopefully I got this right. Make sure you guys get a chance to follow her at Megan Call. supposedly Crawley, but I hopefully I didn't type it in wrong. But
That's
you know,
perfect. Yeah.
but I will tell you this though, and for at times that we've talked, which we've been on and off, to say the least. If there's one thing I can tell you, and just like every fighter that has been a part of this page, you all have inspired me as well from a guy's perspective, because you guys go in there, you fight your hearts out, whether if it's combat or whether it comes to jiu-jitsu. You pretty much taking your time and you're taking the effort. And I do want to say this: it's always an honor to get a chance to have an incredible fighters like you to join me, to get a chance to share your stories. Because without y'all, I mean, this page wouldn't even exist. So on behalf of myself and so many others, keep doing what you're doing, because you are making impacts in so many ways that you didn't really expect to. And I am glad to get a chance to watch you become the amazing fighter that you are. I'm glad to get a chance to see what you do, and of course, get a chance to see your little puppy dogs on stories, to say the least. But
Yeah.
you're making impacts. You're doing incredible things. Don't give up and just keep doing what you're doing, because you're making many moves that everyone needs to see.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thank you for constantly sharing my pictures on your page. That's awesome.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's more than just one person. It's every fighter out there. I mean, I don't care if you're amateur or pro, to say the least. And whenever I share my story on Friday, I think people will hopefully be touched by it, to say the least. You know, and I will tell you this: it was definitely an honor. It was definitely a fun interview to get a chance to have you on. Is there any final comments, any final thoughts you want to say before we get a chance to hop off?
No, thank you so much for your time and thank you for having me on and getting to hear and learn a little bit about me. I appreciate it.
No problem. I will definitely send you the link once when I get done here. Okay.
Okay, sounds great.
All right.
Take care of
Later.
yourself.
Take care of
Bye.
yourself too. Later.
Bye.
That was Miss Megan Crawley. Either way, though, try not to butcher it. But let's go ahead and head on over to our last advertisement break before we hop off the air. All right, that was it, ladies and gentlemen. That was it for us here tonight at the StreamYard Studios. If you guys want to get a chance to check out more interviews, make sure to click that subscribe button. And of course, once again, shout out to everyone who's been a part of this. Make sure you guys check out Armchair Booking. But we are done. We are done until Friday. Friday we have pretty much a little bit of something for you guys. Friday I'll get a chance to share my stories, and Friday we also get a chance to have another interview. So I got more interviews coming y'all's way, and of course some big ones next week. But if you guys like what you see, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. But until then, I'm Jake, and I'll see you guys later.